A lot of traditional wet flies don't necessarily represent, anatomically or color variation wise natural food sources, but they have intrinsic values, and by definition you could call those flies attractors. And no question or doubt at all, one of the absolute best of those is a fly by the name of the Wickham's Fancy. Now it's kind of originated back in the 1800s. There's a couple of versions of how you tie that fly, but pretty much it amounts to the fact that it's a gold-bodied fly. The main difference that I would orientate would be wing color. That's all. Typically, would normally use grey mallard, but I also prefer to use more of a tanny or a brown coloured wing medium to that. So anyway, when I tie that fly, it's a Palmer hackle-bodied fly, and a great brown trout fly. No question or doubt about that. I've caught an awful lot of big brown trout on this fly in my time, both on lakes, rivers, and streams. Thread colour, oh, well, you can go with brown, black, or orange. I don't think it really makes too difference. But bear in mind, we're going to tie a tinsel body, but we're also going to add a tail to this fly. So we're going to, first of all, make a really flat, even, neat, close-bodied thread body to a point where we pretty much get there, a little ways past the bend, a little ways past the point of the hook, I should say. And we're going to cut that off there. Okay, red game hackle. Red game really refers to hackle that's typically like you'd find on a Rhode Island red or something like that. But you see, it's kind of like a really natural red shade. I don't think it really makes a great deal of difference, to be honest about it. But anyway, we're going to incorporate the tail. And remember the technique that we described. You pull the fibers out at right angle to the stem of the hackle, grip those fairly firmly, and then pull the hackle stem away, and that leaves you with a nice bunch of fibers that are aligned there on the tip section. And then stretch those over, and just set those in on top of the shank of the hook, and make sure that we've got good alignment and relative range extending past the bend of the hook. Let's keep a couple more turns to make those secure. And typically I always make one wrap of thread behind the back of the tail. It's just a habit. I don't think it makes a lot of difference. Take one turn and catch in gold ribbon tinsel, which could be oval or wire, and then about 2 strands of flat gold. And we can use the technique that we showed you earlier on, or we can just pretty much offer those directly underneath the shank of the hook. Always start with longer lengths. It's much easier to catch them in initially, and just kind of slowly drag those back so we've got no excess showing that we need to cut off. And reverse the thread back up the shank of the hook, and very carefully trap down all those ends of those fibers, the tail, until you reach the position where you're going to complete the underbody. Bear in mind, you've got to tie in a hackle that's got to be palmed down this body. You've also got to tie in a wing, so don't cramp your space toward the eye, which is again a common mistake. There's a lot going on here. Alrighty. Balance the bobbin on the left finger and start to make your gold body flat turns, each one just slightly touching on a little over the previous. That gives you a nice definition to the body and no gaps in between those wraps. When you get to that position, bring the tinsel over the top of the thread, underneath, pick the bobbin up, and you've got it locked with that 1 turn, 2 turns, 3 turns. That's good enough. It's not going to go anywhere. And cut off the excess. If you don't establish a really nice, neat body of tinsel, don't go no further. Strip it off and start again. Because generally speaking, if you don't tie it nice and flat and even and tight, it's not secure. It's going to drag off or something or other. Okay, we're going to select a hackle we're going to use as the palmed hackle. And typically what you want is a hackle that's got some definition of an arrow shape, like wide to thin. They're not always easy to find anymore, but if it's kind of more of a level definition, that's fine also too. And is that good? That's fine. Okay, we're going to strip off all the base fiber like that. You don't need to tear that all off because that's going to thereafter be removed in the first place. Just make a little nick there in that hackle stem, and when you offer that up underneath the shank of the hook, that little nick there you make just gives you that perfect little anchor point. And just come forward 1, 2, 3 wraps of thread, and if you do that good enough, there's no way that hackle's going to pull out. Okay, pick up your hackle pliers, grip the hackle in the tip end. Okay, make at least 2 good turns at the shoulder. 1, 2. That kind of gives you what we call a fullness of hackle at the shoulder, and then start to reverse that back down that body. Maintain even tension all the way down. And make sure that when you get to the end, the last turn that you make comes directly underneath the shank of the hook, like this. Because what you're going to do is you're going to pick up that ribbing tinsel, bring it back round over the stem of the hackle. Now you've got it trapped. Okay? As long as you maintain that tension, you can release the hackle pliers. Nothing worse than letting them hang there, get in the way. And like I explained to you before, when you rib a palmed body fly, come up there as fast as you can. Don't deliberately do it slow because you'll just trap the fibers. Bring the tinsel back round under the thread. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're done. Most times you can just nick that and snap that off. Likewise with that, and likewise with that. And we got everything nice and clean there ready except the wing. We got no big bolt there. If you do, you're going to have a problem setting a good wing to the fly in the first place. Minimize thread wraps. That's pretty much what it amounts to. Okay, of the 2 techniques we described to form a wing structure, we're going to use the second one, which we previously did that in the last fly. Just go about twice the width of the wing fiber that you actually want for the finished fly. Pull those fibers out at right angles to the quill. Make sure you're looking at this kind of square end. That's the important thing. And then literally pull those and tear those like that. Okay, now cut off the butts so you eliminate any aggravation there. And very, very carefully just make a nice neat center fold to that wing. If you don't get it perfect first time, just kind of relax, and if you're real careful you can actually kind of roll it a little bit more too. And if you feel that you've got your wing too wide or too much, I'm not going to do it because I've got it exactly where I want it, but just for an example, you can just put in the dubbing needle like this, separate the fiber, pull that out, and whilst doing that just maintain the structure of your wing formation. Okay, we're good. Remember this, that you've got to offer the wing up from the tying down point. Is that too long? Is that too short? Pretty much assess that length first. And when you got it pretty much where you want it, and that's about where I do want it, just transfer from left to right. Make sure that the wing is actually touching the top of the hook of the shank. Take the thread up, bring it back down with a soft turn. As soon as you start to see that thread move that wing, grip the wing, the hook and the thread and jerk that thread down. And there you go, you'll get your wing set exactly where you want it. Centerwise to the hook, additional security turns. I always have a habit of holding on to the wing anyway when I cut off the butts. Like I told you before, sometimes sharp scissors will catch it and they'll twist it. Okay, that's fine. And then build up a neat head. And we take the varnish. And then we do the whip finish. Put pressure against the hook, cut off the excess thread, and there you go, finished fly. Great fly that. Usually I fish that in the middle dropper position. Sometimes I fish it on the top dropper position, late evenings or when there's, kind of diminished light conditions.